TikTok user Yee Rodriguez, 45, shared unsettling CCTV footage from her home in Rosarito, Mexico. It showed a strange woman appearing in the neighborhood late at night. For months, neighbors reported seeing her walking silently along the streets, stopping to paint crosses on homes, gates, and even a nearby church, while leaving cryptic religious messages. After 3 failed attempts, the cameras finally caught her. In the footage, she can be seen passing by, sometimes fading in and out, partially transparent. It left everyone questioning what, or who, she really was. About 2 years ago, a Reddit user named Buddy Prize was at his grandmother's house with his dog. Both of them were staring out the window when they noticed something strange. Behind a shed in the backyard, a dark, human-shaped silhouette appeared. It stood there, partially hidden, and then moments later, it was gone. The uploader mentioned that his grandfather had passed away a year or 2 earlier. Some people wondered if the figure could somehow be connected to his late grandfather. Others feared it might have been something far more sinister.
Bro.
Unfortunately, there was no follow-up, no explanation of who or what had been standing behind that shed. And to this day, the identity of that shadowy figure remains unknown. One evening, while spending time with friends, 2 women took a photo together using an old camera. When the picture was printed later, everything appeared normal at first. But in the dark space behind them, something unusual stood out. A shape appeared that looked like a face, and part of an upper body emerging from the darkness. Neither woman remembered anyone standing behind them at the time, and the person who took the photo insisted the area had been empty. Some have suggested possible explanations, such as a reflection, motion blur, or light distortion passing through glass. Those explanations are certainly possible, but others point out the details in the face, the shape, positioning, and apparent features make the image harder to dismiss. Whether it was a trick of the camera, an altered photo, or something that truly shouldn't have been there, the image has continued to unsettle those who've seen it. Reddit user Zombies Are Real Shit shared a creepy discovery scribbled inside their backyard fence. Someone had written help or hello with a red substance that looked like blood. The backyard fence, which only had a single gate, not usually locked. There were no snow tracks, suggesting it hadn't been made very recently. Without security cameras to see who might have done it, the mystery remains unsolved. Wouldn't you report this? On January 28, 2025, TikTok user Big D from the Hoosier Estate shared a creepy video. A woman named Sarah was watching her neighbor's house while they were away. But one afternoon, she saw something strange in their garage and quickly recorded it. When slowed down and zoomed in, the footage shows something running back and forth, while the lights flicker on and off. The house was completely empty, and Sarah still has no explanation. So what was moving inside that garage? 2 women were in a room performing a fertility ritual. One held a camera while the other recited an incantation, swinging her arms as if cradling a baby. Suddenly, at the edge of the mirror, something appeared.
¿Qué pasó, Regina? ¿Qué listi?
A pale head with dark, hollow eyes peeked around it. It stared at them for a brief moment before retreating as quickly as it had appeared. The one with the camera screamed, alerting her friend. Both were filled with panic and confusion. Had they accidentally summoned something? In the early morning hours of October 8, 2016, a family living near the woods outside Boswell, Pennsylvania, woke up to a mess in their yard. Their trash cans had been knocked over, and garbage was scattered across the ground. At first, they assumed it was a black bear. To be sure, they checked their porch security camera, but the footage didn't show a bear. Instead, a strange figure could be seen peeking around the corner of their home. The family later pointed out something even more unsettling. Their trash cans were stored in the backyard, on the opposite side of the house from where the figure appeared on the camera. The figure didn't seem interested in the trash at all. Instead, it appeared to be studying the house itself, almost as if it knew where people normally entered and exited. And if that's true, it raises an unsettling question. What had been watching them, and for how long had this family been watched? It had been below zero all day. The uploader hadn't left the house once, and they were completely alone. No visitors, no knocks on the door. But then they noticed something disturbing. In the fresh snow outside, footprints had appeared. The tracks circled around the back entrance, then veered off toward an area with no nearby homes, no roads, and nothing of interest. No one inside the house had gone out. So who made those footprints? And why would someone or something walk around the property in freezing temperatures only to disappear into an empty stretch of land? In the quiet hours of the night, a man woke up and went to get a glass of water. Outside, the neighborhood dogs were barking and howling non-stop. Curious and uneasy, he stepped to the window to see what was causing the chaos. That's when he noticed this. A dark figure standing completely still among the bushes. From his vantage point in the second-story window, he could clearly see it. It wasn't moving, and didn't react to the barking dogs. What could have been out there that night, and why did the dogs react that way? In East Austin, Texas, a man named Samuel Williams checked his backyard security footage after his dog, Tucker, started acting strange late at night. What he saw surprised him. A homeless man had been living in a shed on his property, seemingly for days, without Williams knowing. Security cameras showed someone coming and going from it at night. When he realized what was happening, he called the police. Officers found evidence the man had been using the shed as a makeshift home, with belongings inside. The man wasn't immediately removed. Local outreach groups were eventually contacted to help him find a safer place to stay. Williams said he felt shocked and violated to discover someone living on his property without his knowledge, especially so close to his home. He later added locks and other security measures to prevent it from happening again. Sometime around 2021, Pirate King 307 on TikTok was far away from his house when his Ring doorbell suddenly went off. Take a look at the clip. A clear whisper was heard saying, "Help me." The man had bought the house from a couple married for 76 years. According to him, the husband collapsed in the yard while cutting grass and died on the way to the hospital. Was it his spirit trying to reach his wife? Some viewers thought the moving shape looked like an insect, like a praying mantis or grasshopper. Wind could have opened the door, maybe it wasn't fully shut, but the whispered voice was harder to explain. So was it just bugs and wind, or something asking for help at an empty house? Late at night, Reddit user Executive Function 404 heard loud cries coming from the backyard. The sounds were unfamiliar and unsettling, so he recorded them to post online. The clip quickly gained attention. Many viewers identified the noise as coyotes. People explained that coyotes often make these sounds while traveling or feeding in groups. The noise can sound strange to those who are not used to it. What's unusual, however, is the user had never heard this before, even though he had lived there for many years. A family had been experiencing strange happenings inside their home. According to them, things seemed to get worse after the arrival of their first child, a little girl. This clip captures one of those unsettling moments. The family was outside, packing their van for a trip. Both parents were busy when suddenly, without any warning, the toddler fell hard to the ground. When watching the footage closely, it almost looks as if something unseen in the yard grabbed her and pulled her down. The parents immediately rushed to check on her. Whatever it was, it seemed to be deliberately interfering with their little girl. In Carrollwood, Florida, a quiet neighborhood hid a dark secret for years. Back in May 2021, neighbors began to worry when a woman named Karen Pai disappeared. No one suspected what lay beneath the backyard of the home she shared with her sister. When the truth finally came out, it revealed that Karen's sister, Deborah Patton, had allegedly shot her in the chest, wrapped her body in bags, and buried her just 1 foot deep in the backyard. For years, the case was tangled in legal delays and questions of competency. Patton was deemed unfit for trial at one point, spending time in a mental hospital. But eventually, she faced a Hillsborough County jury. The evidence was clear. Friends spoke of decades of tension between the sisters. Some even said Karen warned, "If anything happens to me, Deborah did it." After only about an hour of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict for second-degree murder. Patton was sentenced to life in prison. For those who knew Karen, the verdict brought a grim sense of relief. Finally, the sister who had buried a secret for too long would face justice, and the neighborhood could begin to reckon with what had happened right in their own backyard. Reddit user ZFastAndLoud1 shared some footage their mom had captured on the backyard camera at 8:52 p.m. The backyard is completely fenced in, and it was the middle of January, so anyone running around can be ruled out. The wind seemed minimal at the time, but the way the shadow interacted with the light was unsettling. Watching the clip, it almost looks like a person is running, but maybe backwards. Honestly, there's no clear explanation. A man visiting his family, who live across from St. Paul's Hospital, noticed something unusual. He pulled out his phone to record.
Yo, fuck, look, it's not...
As he zoomed in, he realized a figure was standing in a window, and it barely seemed to move at all. The family explained that the building had long been associated with mysterious sightings, and the figure was widely believed to be a ghost that appeared in that very window at night. But no one really knows for sure what it is. Reddit user Yosef was inside their apartment one day when they noticed something unusual. Feeling suspicious, they grabbed their phone to record. In the video, a thick cord, or possibly even a small camera lens, suddenly comes into view, as if the upstairs neighbor might be spying on them. Some suggested it was just a power cable or electrical cord waving in the breeze. Others guessed it could have been a small security camera or some kind of sensor. Either way, it would creep anyone out. One night, a woman was out walking her dog along a quiet road in her neighborhood. From the start, something felt off. The street was empty, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't truly alone. Just to check in, she snapped a quick photo and sent it to her husband, but his reply made everything worse. He texted back, "Who's that behind you?" Confused, she looked at the photo again, and that's when she saw it. In the live photo playback, for just a moment, a dark hooded figure appeared, wandering near the edge of the road. She was certain no one had been there. She hadn't seen or heard a thing. The realization left them both shaken and confused. Had someone been silently following her in the dark? Thankfully, she made it home safely, but ever since that night, she's never walked that route alone again. A TikToker, "Hi, it's Meredith," woke up with a strange feeling that someone had been outside her home. When she reviewed her Ring camera footage, she noticed an almost glowing figure moving across her yard. Unlike typical camera glitches, lens bugs, or spider webs dangling in front of the lens, this figure had a distinct all-white shape. It didn't resemble a person, whose shadow would normally appear darker. But it doesn't necessarily have to be something paranormal. Maybe it was just a bug reflecting the door light. A woman named Amanda Bond posted a backyard camera photo on Facebook from December 21st, 2023, captured at 1:43 a.m. In the picture, someone was seen heading into her backyard, but the creepiest part is, the camera never caught them leaving. No explanation was ever found. Where did that person go? Or are they still there? Reddit user LLCoolJ735 shared a post after noticing something unusual in a photo taken at night during snowfall. The user had taken a picture of the snow and later saw a small purple shape in the image. After zooming in, the object became more noticeable, and it even appeared as if someone in a cloak was standing there. They shared the photo online, asking others for suggestions. Some users suggested harmless explanations, like light reflecting off the snow or camera artifacts, but no one could clearly explain exactly what is being seen. Could you? A fire suddenly broke out in the hills of Los Angeles, sending firefighters rushing to battle the flames. When the blaze was finally under control, they made a chilling discovery: a body inside the burned home. Neighbors soon claimed the property belonged to a man known as William de Rothschild, believed to be connected to one of the world's wealthiest banking families, which is why the story quickly sparked speculation online. But as investigators looked deeper, a surprising detail emerged. The man had no confirmed ties to the famous Rothschild dynasty and had reportedly adopted the name years earlier. Authorities later ruled the death an accident, caused by heart disease and smoke inhalation during the fire. But the internet isn't buying it, and many are convinced it's just a cover-up story. Reddit user MutedLead5798 shared that strange things began happening in and around their home starting January 1st, 2026. It began with their children. They told their parents there was someone in their closet, a figure with white eyes. They even claimed it threw their bluey stuffed animal out of the closet. At first, it just sounded like a child's imagination. But just a few days earlier, the family's motion-activated backyard camera had captured something strange. An image showing a dark, shadowy figure standing in front of the neighbor's shed. Nothing else was visible. So now the question is, could this be the same figure the kids were talking about? And if not, what else could have triggered the motion sensor at that exact moment? Whatever the answer is, this family is left wondering what exactly has been lurking near their home since the start of the year. Reddit user Serpent95's friend filmed a normal video in Thailand, without realizing she had captured one of the scariest clips of her life. When she reviewed the video later, after returning home to Sweden, she noticed something strange. As she walked along with a dog behind her, a dark, cloaked figure seemed to move beside them. The dog didn't react at all. To this day, she has no idea what it could have been, but it still creeps her out. The image was captured by a trail camera placed in a backyard. When it was reviewed later, the owner noticed something unsettling. Someone appeared to be standing in the yard at night, but only in a single frame. The figure seemed to lack facial features and almost looked partially transparent. There was no recorded movement before or after the image was taken, and it made little sense for anyone to be there, as the home is located deep in the woods. It remains unclear whether this was a camera glitch or something unexplained. This next clip was shared with me by a viewer named Julie. One night she was jolted awake by the sound of her dog, barking fiercely at something outside. Unsure what was going on, she opened her phone and checked the feed from her door camera. That's when she saw this. A human-like figure moving on all fours across her front yard. She later told me, "I didn't sleep at all that night, and my dog didn't leave the window once. And it wasn't just her. The next morning, her neighbor mentioned hearing strange noises in his backyard that same night, and when he went to check, he found footprints in the snow. Whatever the reason behind this bizarre behavior, it left Julie feeling deeply uneasy, and wondering the same thing many of us would. Why would anyone be out there crawling like that in the dark? A Reddit user, Heffalumps96, was going through old family photos when she noticed something disturbing hiding in the background. The photo was taken in the late 1990s and shows her brother-in-law smiling, completely unaware of anything unusual behind him. But in the background, a disturbing-looking figure can be seen. The shape almost resembles a person, with hollow-looking eyes and the faint outline of a face emerging from the darkness. At first glance, it's hard not to feel unsettled. The person who shared the image explained that behind him was a curio cabinet filled with dishes, which means what we're likely seeing is a reflection in the glass. But even knowing that, it doesn't make the image any less eerie. The family insists no one was standing there at the time. So was it simply a trick of light and reflection? Or is this one of those rare photos that makes you question what was really in the room that day? For weeks, a homeowner was disturbed by strange sounds outside his house at night. Laughter, running footsteps, and what sounded like children playing. At first, he assumed it was neighborhood kids sneaking onto his property after dark. Determined to catch them, he installed security cameras. What he saw in the footage, however, was far stranger than he could have imagined. The video shows 4 small figures running through his yard, looking like little girls dressed in old-fashioned clothing. Then something chilling happens. One by one, they begin to fade, only to reappear a few feet away, still playing as if nothing happened. Some speculate it might be a residual haunting, a replay of events tied to the property from the past, children forever repeating their games from one night. Creepy, right? After strange things kept happening in his kitchen, a homeowner decided to install a security camera. Late one night, he had left the lights on, when the camera recorded something unsettling. The lights suddenly switched off, and moments later, a shadowy figure appeared, walking from the kitchen into the hallway. The homeowner said they hadn't noticed anything unusual while inside the house. They only discovered the figure later while reviewing the footage. To this day, they have no idea who, or what, was walking through their kitchen that night. The video left them feeling uneasy inside their own home. Reddit user Takalino was sitting in his living room around 2:30 a.m. when the night became anything but quiet. Suddenly, a loud, eerie sound came from his backyard, a deep, heavy breathing-like noise that didn't match anything familiar. At first, he thought it might be his dog, but after checking, the dog was asleep and the sound continued.
Bro, this fucking skin.
He went to check and even recorded the strange noise coming from outside, but he saw nothing. Commenters suggested it could be animals like foxes making unusual calls. Although it was probably just wildlife, I can imagine how frightening it must have been if you'd never heard a sound like that before. A Reddit user named Roadkill256 heard a noise outside and decided to check their Ring camera. Nothing appeared on their own driveway, but on the neighbor's driveway, a childlike figure was visible, sitting still and facing the house. The homeowner went outside to check, but found no one there. The neighboring house was empty, as the resident had passed away 6 to 8 months earlier. After returning inside, the camera still showed the figure in the same spot. Another check outside, including walking closer to the driveway, again showed nothing. By the next day, the figure no longer appeared and has not been seen since. They're still confused about what it was. TikTok user Haunting Image uploaded a chilling clip from a residential door camera around 2 a.m. The footage showed a faint figure appearing on the porch. Some viewers claimed she resembled a woman who had died in a car accident near that location back in 1948, but the location wasn't shared, so that can't be confirmed. While some were convinced it was a genuine ghostly appearance, others suspected digital trickery, pointing to the unusual clarity and smoothness of the figure. Reddit user jtrill468 was asleep in his home when around 3:47 a.m. he was jolted awake by a notification from his backyard security camera. Curious and a little uneasy, he opened the app to check the footage. What he saw left him seriously creeped out. In the video, a person was walking through his yard, barefoot, wearing a full face mask. They didn't rush, they just moved slowly, deliberately, and began going through his things. At one point, they picked up his baseball bat, looking it over before slowly disappearing out of frame. No break-in, no stolen items, just a silent masked stranger, wandering barefoot through private property in the dead of night. Why would someone be out there like that, barefoot, masked, and sniffing around a stranger's yard? To this day, the homeowner is left wondering, who was this, and what were they planning to do next? A woman in Mexico shared images from her home security cameras after noticing the same figure appear in her backyard multiple times. The footage shows a human-shaped figure that looks like a woman in a white gown with long black hair. In most recordings, the figure stands still in the yard, usually in the backyard. One image shows the figure faint and partially transparent. The woman ruled out lighting issues and camera falls. Was it just reflections or repeated sightings of something we don't yet understand? A woman named Martha shared a strange experience from her apartment. She felt uneasy, like someone was watching her, so she looked around and saw her neighbor staring straight inside. At first it seemed simply odd and rude, but then Martha noticed something even more unsettling. The woman's posture was unnatural, stiff and twisted, almost as if she were being controlled by something else. Many viewers suggested it was a warning sign to move away. If it's true, then it's a weird way to force your neighbor into moving. A group of guys were having a party in their backyard when they took this photo. Before the photo was taken, one of the guys began feeling unwell. He felt heavy and emotionally unsettled, assuming it was stress, fatigue, or alcohol. After seeing the photo, the group noticed a dark shape behind him. After that night, the man reported ongoing distress. He experienced sleep paralysis, physical pain, emotional heaviness, and dark thoughts. He later shared the image online seeking help. Many people responded, saying it looked like something dark had attached itself to him and advised him to seek God and professional help. Reddit user Graham Punk shared this chilling photo from a woman's home in Georgia after a fire broke out. It's a terrifying scene on its own. When you look closely at one of the windows, the family believes they can see the face of her father, who had passed away some time earlier. They later added a photo of her father, and many commenters agreed. The resemblance is striking. The woman survived the blaze, but the photograph has left many viewers unsettled. However, she isn't frightened. She says she doesn't believe it's a ghost, but an angel. Was he protecting her? In September 2020, TikTok user Able3E posted backyard security footage from West Laco, Texas. At first, the clip looked completely normal, just a quiet yard at night. Then, in the corner of the screen, a faint, ghostly shape appeared, before vanishing into thin air. Later, the uploader returned to the same spot during daylight. He showed a small shed-like structure near where the figure had appeared, and something about the way the shed looked felt unsettling. Whatever showed up in that backyard that night was never seen again. Before we continue, if you have arachnophobia, this is your warning. In China, a family discovered something truly terrifying in their backyard shed. Tucked into a corner was a giant spider. This one appeared to be almost as large as a human face. Its long legs stretched across the wall. The family managed to film it briefly before backing away. At around 8:10 a.m., Reddit user No Librarian 1954 was outside their house helping his younger brother get on the school bus. Suddenly, they noticed a strange figure across the street near a wooded area. At first, it seemed like a possible prank, a Halloween costume. On closer observation, it appeared partially transparent. They contacted the police to check the area. Officers inspected the woods, but found nothing unusual. By the time they arrived, the figure was no longer visible. The sighting lasted only a short time and was not seen again. TikToker Wonderlust Cast was asleep one night when their backyard security camera captured something strange. In the footage, a dark, human-like silhouette can be seen running across the yard in the middle of the night. Unsure of who or what it was, they shared the clip online. Most viewers agreed it was likely a person, maybe even a burglar caught on a poor quality camera. And honestly, people wandering through your yard late at night might be even worse than a ghost. A woman was out on her patio around 1 a.m. trying to soothe her baby while waiting for her husband to get home. That's when their home security camera captured this. As she rocked the baby, the child suddenly stared toward the gate, and the woman felt a chill. At first, she thought it was a prank by her husband, but he didn't arrive until 3 a.m. When they reviewed the footage later together, both were shaken. Looking closer, a pale, thin face appeared, barely visible through the gaps, watching them silently. Some say it was a ghost, others suspect something more inhuman. Several years ago, two adults were standing near a garage working on a large engine mounted on a wheeled stand when someone took this photo. At the time, no one noticed anything unusual in the image. It was only much later, when the photo was looked at again, that someone spotted something strange hiding in the background. Behind the engine, partially covered by shadows and metal parts, a small figure appears to be peeking out. The outline looks oddly similar to a child's head. But the person who took the photo insisted there were no children anywhere near the property that day. Some believe it could simply be a shadow or part of the machinery creating a strange illusion. What if it really is someone quietly watching from behind the engine? A woman named Kay Shering shared her backyard camera footage from Warralla Road, Australia, on Facebook. The clip shows an unknown man walking into the yard at night, holding a pair of shoes. He bends near a table like he's searching for something, and then walks away. The woman called the police, but no one knows why he was there, or what he was looking for in someone else's backyard. But I have a feeling he may have been searching yards to steal things. A man suddenly woke up one night after hearing a loud noise coming from the front of his house. When he got up and looked outside, everything seemed completely quiet. Still feeling uneasy, he decided to check the footage from his security camera, and that's when he saw this. The camera briefly captured a figure rushing past the front of the house. Because of the poor camera quality, the figure almost seems to have no upper body, but most likely it was a person running past the house. Still, that doesn't make the situation any less unsettling. Who was in his garden late at night, and why were they there? On May 9th, 2019, in Little Rock, Arkansas, someone made a terrifying discovery in their neighbor's backyard. A venomous northern cottonmouth was slithering near a wooden log. The neighbor's dog got too close and was bitten. Their bite can cause intense pain, rapid swelling, tissue damage, and internal bleeding. In severe cases, especially without medical treatment, the venom can lead to serious complications. While deaths are rare with modern medical care, immediate treatment is critical. Thankfully, the dog was rushed to the vet and received treatment in time. In South Dakota, a homeowner was jolted awake late at night by loud knocking at his front door. Concerned, he checked the live feed from his home surveillance camera, and what he saw shocked him. Part of his front door appeared to be damaged. Through the broken gap, a face was visible. Someone seemed to be peering inside. The camera captured just enough detail to make out parts of the person's face, along with a hand resting near the opening. Was it someone attempting to break in? This footage was shared with me by a viewer named Sean, who lives in Woodbridge, England. On the night of November 1st, 2019, he received a late notification from his gate security camera. Curious, he opened the app to check, and what he saw left him uneasy.
Bible celebration. I want the whole square there. Okay, great. Let's talk later, yeah? Thanks.
But here's the thing. Sean confirmed no one was outside at the time. It wasn't the first strange thing he'd experienced in the area. Sean mentioned he lives near an old airfield, a place long associated with local ghost stories and unexplained sightings. And to this day, he still doesn't know who or what appeared outside his home that night. Instagram user Waldo Beltran and his wife noticed something strange near their property. There were barefoot footprints stretching across the ground. At first glance, they seemed normal, but as they followed them, things became unsettling. Some prints pointed forward, others backwards, and the sizes varied wildly, as if the feet belonged to multiple creatures, or something that could change form. The wife, intrigued and uneasy, suggested they might be the work of a skinwalker, a shape-shifting entity from folklore. The patterns were too strange to dismiss as ordinary animal tracks. And why would a person walk on their property barefoot? Reddit user Daydreams007 was with a friend on the night of April 30th, 2022 when something strange happened. They had been playing Karoom at a friend's house, a routine that often kept them out until 2 or 3 a.m, but that night they left a little earlier. Before going home, they stopped by the river like they always did, but this time, something felt different. As they turned off their bike's engine, one of them noticed a silhouette of a woman in the distance. They could only make out her legs at first, standing still near a neighbor's yard. And she didn't move a single inch. Both friends saw her, and both were terrified. Instinct kicked in, and they ran away. Before leaving, one of them managed to pull out his phone and snap a few photos. Looking at the photo, the figure looked like a woman. But no one should have been standing there in the middle of the night, especially not in that quiet riverbank village. Was it just a stranger out walking, a trick of the light? Or was it something else entirely? Something ghostly? This footage was recorded late at night while TikToker Michael Leonard 183 was checking his camera after a neighbor reported slashed tires. At first, a man walking past the house seemed normal, hood down, bare head visible. Then, without any movement and without touching anything, the hood suddenly appeared on his head. It was as if the hoodie had materialized out of thin air. Even stranger, the camera's humanoid detection, highlighted by a yellow box, didn't activate until the hood appeared, almost as if it suddenly recognized him as fully human. The uploader confirmed there were no edits, cuts, or frame skips. Viewers wonder if this was a moment where reality itself didn't render correctly. How do you explain this? One evening, a woman was home alone while her partner was out. Suddenly, she began hearing strange noises echoing down the hallway. Uneasy, she called out and turned on the lights. At first, nothing seemed out of place, but as she stood in front of a glass door leading to a spare room, something caught her eye. On the other side of the glass, a pale hand appeared, just for a moment. Frozen with fear, she opened the door and searched the room, but it was completely empty. To this day, she doesn't know what she saw. A Reddit user named Release the Slab shared Ring camera photos from a neighbor's house. The photos, taken in the dead of night, show a tall figure walking across the yard. According to the poster, The figure moved with an odd, unsteady gait that didn't look like typical walking, and for a moment it almost seemed detached from normal human motion. Many assumed it was just a person under the influence or sleepwalking, noting that shadows and clothing can make night footage appear strange. Others argued the silhouette didn't look quite right, almost as if the person were naked. Whatever it was, it left the entire neighborhood confused. A home security camera in the UK recorded a brief and unusual incident on a residential street. Take a look. A dark, fast-moving figure suddenly crossed the street. The shape appeared humanoid and moved in a running motion. It was partially transparent and visible only for a moment. Some viewers believe it shows an apparition, while others suggest a camera malfunction or visual distortion. The source of the footage has not been confirmed, but it remains intriguing. One night, a man was asleep when sudden loud noises woke him up. Outside, his ducks were making a huge commotion, as if something was attacking them. Worried, he grabbed his camera and rushed outside to check. At first, everything seemed normal, but later, when he reviewed the recording more carefully, he noticed something strange. Near the edge of the duck house, a pair of glowing eyes briefly appeared. They seemed to be watching from the darkness. Then, the moment the camera turned in that direction, the eyes quickly slipped out of view. So what was lurking near the duck house that night? Around midnight, a homeowner suddenly heard their door security alarm go off. Thinking someone might be outside, they went straight to the front door to check, but no one was there. When they checked the security camera footage, they noticed something terrifying. A creepy-looking person was crouching near the door. Fortunately, nobody broke in that night. But seeing a figure like that lurking near your front door in the middle of the night is enough to creep anyone out. Reddit user OKEnvironment441 was scrolling through old photos from 2023 when they found an image that has haunted them ever since. The picture was taken in their room, and at first glance, it seemed normal. But then something in the window caught their eye. In the bottom left corner of the frame, a faint shape of a pale face appears. The user swears it's not a reflection. No one was there at the time, and they didn't have a TV in that room. They tried to think of an explanation, but simply couldn't come up with anything. It remains a mystery. Reddit user Alex and Vixen shared a photo that quickly caught people's attention online. After a snowfall, they noticed something strange in the fresh snow on their balcony. There were large footprints scattered across the balcony floor. The user explained that they lived in a high apartment building several floors above the ground, and insisted they had not stepped out there since the snow began falling. The prints were also much bigger than their own feet, making the situation even harder to explain. There were no clear tracks leading to or away from the balcony either. So, who had been on their balcony? About 4 years ago, a home security camera captured something unsettling. At first, the night looked completely normal, but then a shadowy figure appeared near the front gate. Moments later, the figure seemed to pass straight through the gate. No one inside the house recognized it, and according to the owners, no one ever actually entered the house that night. Some viewers said the camera must have glitched. Others argue it could have been edited footage. But if it was just a camera error, why does it look like he never touched the gate at all? It was 2 in the morning when a man was jolted awake by a loud, persistent crying that sounded like a cat. But the man didn't own a cat. He went to investigate only to find this. Behind the storage closet, a childlike figure appeared. Oddly, his own children were asleep in their rooms. Heart pounding, he opened the closet door, but there was nothing there. Things have never felt the same again. For more scary backyard encounters, watch this next video.